HHDG.
Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media Podcast. And as always, big shout out to everyone that's tunes in through our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook group, HHDG. As always, you can go check out our previous live interviews through our YouTube channel, as well as our written interviews through our website that you can see on the bottom banner, hhdgmedia.com, which also has music we put up there, as well as our merchandise and upcoming events. And this is always made possible through our company, which consists of Rock Vader KB, T. Smith, the Mayor, Skelly Top, and myself, Wiki. For tonight, we have an all-around ill lyricist who consistently, through every album in his catalog, has put nothing but top-notch music, vivid imagery, got the lyrics to always back it up, always has a perfect soundscape with the producers he has for each project. And one thing that is always consistent is he always reps his hometown and his family through his music. And that's always a blessing because we get to know more about him through his words, his vision, his mind, through his lyrics, his songs, his albums. And it's never been a slouch, since I've heard him on before his first album, the Chappell Show project that he put out before his first album, Future Before Nostalgia. And that's been about 14, 15 years now. So he's definitely been putting it in. And his first album, amazing. And he worked with Kenny Dope on his first album. Does it get any better than that for your first album? Just amazing work. And just recently, his new album dropped called Spear Village. And this is once again another project where never the same, but they also have a continuous progression in his creative concept. And I love that about how he creates these projects. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce, repping Passaic, New Jersey, Rasheed Chappell.
Great intro. I appreciate that. I may have to save that and use that. Thank you. Very
Appreciate
humble by the words, brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Man, I think I might have heard you the first time. It might have been the halftime show, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. DJ Eclipse, what up?
Yep. Indeed. And the thing about what I enjoyed so much about the underground back then is if there's an artist that you weren't familiar with and they caught your ear, you were waiting to find out who that was if you weren't familiar with it. So you always tune into the entire show to find out when they give that list of, the songs that they played. And then a beauty, you going further back was going to Fat Beats and buying records. And then finding that song and that artist that you heard on the radio. Just amazing. So how was your beginnings?
I was never I didn't listen to like the underground radio. Like that wasn't. I'd be having conversations with people all the time. Like I people would talk about the Stretch and Bobbito, but I never really like listened. I never really I probably didn't get like locked in until after I started doing the circuit. But my introduction to hip hop came, via my older cousins, my uncles, coming to New York all the time with my dad. So watching what was hip hop, all of the aspects, the park jams, the graffiti, the b-boys, like seeing all of it. And then like the music, okay, this goes with this, and it all kind of brought together. So I was, you know, it's been a part of my life ever since I was a kid.
That's dope, man. And how is that feeling, you know, speaking on that past right now for you, seeing how far you've come now?
Yeah, well, you brought me back with the Chicago show mixtape. I remember being up in DJ Mishap's attic, putting those together. Um, and just remembering that he had a radio show at William Patterson, and it was like a very big deal. And so, like, going to his show and then linking with Kenny and then talking about this album, which would become Future Before Nostalgia that was coming out, like, you know, it brings me back. So in so many ways, I feel like, you know, a new artist. Like, I love it so much. Like, just the art of it, that I feel hungry all the time to create something new. So, you know.
And I feel that's what helps keep your consistency and quality of music and albums so ill.
Thank you.
Like you said, always being hungry.
I, I mean, you know, it's a sport, you know, so it's like you got to stay sharp, you know. So I just try to lock in all the time, or if I'm not, which is very rare, that I'm not working on something, at least try to be around things that inspire me or give me different perspectives to kind
Mhm.
of bring with me when I go back into, you know, the creative process.
Right, right. Now, speaking on your creative process,
Hmm.
a lot of it, you know, feels like it's not just the past, but also your current life. How do you intertwine the two when you're creating albums?
You know, honestly, like I think probably A Portrait of was the most up to date me that I ever put on a record. Since then, it's been a little bit. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. A Portrait of is probably the most. You know, that was like current events. You know, of what was going on in my life. But I don't really have any idea what I'm gonna say before I
Oh,
hit a
okay.
beat. I have no idea. Like, the music brings it out of me. So I really have no clue like what's going to be said or what the topic's going to be. It's always like I listen to the music and the music kind of dictates, you know, where the pen goes.
Gravitate you in a certain type
Hmm.
of energy and direction. Okay.
Absolutely.
Dope, dope. Now, a lot of your projects, if I'm are one producer, one MC, if I remember correctly.
The only project that had multiple producers is the RX project that I did with
Oh, that's right.
XP the Marksman. So that
That's
was the
right.
only. What I mean, which kind of makes sense. It was the only project I ever did a collab with another MC. So it kind
MC,
of,
yeah, that's true.
yeah, we got some West Coast flavor. We got Buck Wild on there. Rock Marciano produced the joint. Recognize Real. Malcolm Seth. We had some dope stuff on there.
Yep, yep. Big shout out to XP the Marksman, another one consistently doing this thing,
Yeah, it's my guy.
and he's come a long way too.
Yeah, yeah, he's super dope, man. You know, he's one of the people that I check for. You know, even though he's in the phone, I still check for him when I see the name pop up. Like, let me tap in and see what that's about.
True, true, true. Now, here's a question for you. You know,
Hmm.
MCing, you know, lyricism is a competition. What's a most recent song or maybe artist that you heard that was like, I got to rewind that back and check him out or her?
I was tapped into the Freddie Gibbs album that he
Okay,
did.
Alfredo too.
Authentically. Yeah, I, um, I think it's an incredible piece of work sonically. You know, Freddie Gibbs can rap his ass off. You know, and he's able to craft good songs. Um, so probably the Freddie Gibbs album was the last thing that I kind of like tapped into and listened to, you know, like more than once, and was like, oh, this is dope.
Nice. Now, for you, why one producer for each project? Because I know it helps with the chemistry and you have a certain consistency going on. But aside from that, What is it for you? Why you like to work with one producer?
I think for me, I think it makes it easier. You know, we just kind of lock in and we form a sound. You know, and you know, ironically, most of the producers that I work with, if not all, I'm trying to think, maybe Parks might be the only one, but for the most part, I don't try to listen to any of the other stuff. Like if I
Mhm.
heard something that kind of caught my ear, I don't try to listen to any other projects they've done with anybody else. I kind of like want to formulate like my own idea of what these sounds should sound like, you know. And working with somebody like a little Vic, um, you know, on the Portrait of album, everything was created right then and there. So he's making the beat, I'm writing the song, you know. So those kind of interactions, that type of stuff, like it just makes it more fluid, you know, and you capturing the energy in the moment. So you know, I just think it makes it more cohesive when you work with one producer. You know, you go from start to finish.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And with your amazing catalog, we have to mention these other producers. Buck Wild,
Yes,
38 Special.
yes.
We already mentioned Lil Vic and Kenny Dope. I mean, did when you created these projects, did you reach out to a particular producer?
Um, well, from you know the first two albums with Kenny, kind of like put me into you know the sights of a lot of different
The
people. Some people,
Stratosphere, yep.
yeah, yeah, a lot of people have reached out. Buck and I met via Lord Finesse. We stayed in contact. We always talked about working. And funny enough, we really solidified that we were going to work at a 38 Special show. As we were
Oh,
leaving, we was like, "Yo, man,
look at
let's
that.
do something." And that's how Buck and I kind of, you know, it started from. I think he wanted me to do a song for one of his compilation albums, and he said he was impressed because I turned the song back like in 2 days to him, and then we started working. Um, he introduced me to Vic. From that is how I got into did the album with Vic. Spesh, we started working because I actually, when I did the Sugar Bills album, when I did the song Lullaby, I was like, you know what, I want to get Spesh for a verse. And then from there, it turned into the production and Archetype, who produced Sugar Bills.
Hmm.
When I did a couple shows up in Boston, and his studio was like the studio. And you know, we talked, we kept in contact, and so like from the time that I went up there to when we recorded the album was probably like 9 years later. But like all these people have kind of like been in the, you know, they've been in the what do you want to call it, the circumference, or they've been in the radius. And it's like, okay, let's go do something now, or let's tap in now. It's all timing too, so that's a big part of it also.
There it is. So with the new album, tell us how you linked up with Mickey Blue.
Oh man, Mickey Blue. So Mickey Blue, how did I meet Blue? I think I met him at my album release party. Uh, the promoter introduced me to his cousin, and his cousin is a rapper. And like a couple years later, his cousin put out an album, and he asked me for a verse. And the producer of that song was Mickey Blue. And I think I cut the record with Mickey Blue. We hit it off. We had a good time. And then fast forward to I think maybe January or February of this year, he had asked me to do a verse for his compilation album. And when I heard the beat, I was like, "You got any more like this?" And he was like, "Yeah." And you know, we knocked out the. I mean, we laid all the vocals probably like in one or two sessions, and then we just mixed it in and put everything out.
Nice, nice.
And that's how we got to Mickey Blue. That's my guy.
Look at that. Great networking with more and more talented producers. That's
Yeah,
ill though.
he's super dope. He's super dope.
Dope. So now that we speaking on the new album, let's start off with deciding on the album cover in the lobby. How does that coincide with the album?
Well, you know, Spear Village, you know, title Spear Village alum. Uh, the Spear Village is the I guess the actual name, the proper name for the projects that I grew up in. So, I'm an alumni of there. I graduated, and so it only makes sense to stand in the lobby where we were told we couldn't hang, back in the day. So it was kind of like like an ode to that.
Gotcha. Hmm. Everyone has a certain process. Now, you said when you listen to the music, it gravitates you in a certain way.
Hmm.
So tell us about what Mickey Blue gave to you. Did he give you a pack? How did it work? Did you create on the spot?
Because of our schedules, I prefer to work in the studio
Mm-hmm.
like same time. Just because of our schedules, he had to send me some. He sent me like maybe I think the album has what nine songs on there. He might have sent me 14 beats, and those are the nine that there's more, but
Mm-hmm.
those were the nine that really like yeah they spoke to me. They definitely spoke to me.
Cool. And it to me, when I listen to it, it gives off a little bit of an early Nas atmosphere. I get a little grittiness from certain MOP, like the details in it, and then at the same time, almost a laid back kind of vibe of almost like certain Southern artists, how they describe how they grew up,
Okay.
but in your version when I
Hmm.
listen to this album.
I mean, I'm a fan, like first before anything else. So all of these things having, I say it all the time. Everything that came on Video Music Box influenced me. Even the things that I didn't gravitate towards, it told me what kind of to go the other way. But like, so all of those artists from Scarface to Nas to I don't know, Rakim, Az,
Mm-hmm.
Wu Tang, all of that is inside of me. So it just, and then it's my own perspective on the world, and how I choose to execute it when it comes to making a song.
Gotcha. Where did Project City come from?
Oh, that name has been around that before I got here. You know what I mean? Like that's
Okay.
just it's just what we call the projects that we come from. Because it's
Okay.
like a city within a city. There was his own school there. There was his own barbershop, his own basketball court, own baseball field, own laundromat. So everything was right there. You didn't have to go anywhere.
Gotcha. Now, for those I mentioned in the beginning, originally from Passaic, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and definitely another city that has produced a lot of talent in hip hop. Um, how does it feel to know that you come from that same place?
This is gonna sound crazy. Like I don't think about it. Like I just, like I think about, where I want to go.
Mhm.
So I never, I never, what I want to say. It doesn't really enter my psyche like that. I don't
Okay.
really think about like, oh, I'm a part of this. Like I think of more like I'm a part of the culture of hip hop. I just happen to be from Passaic, and
Okay.
a lot of the things that early on influenced me from Passaic makes its way into my music. But there's been so many things outside of Passaic that has inspired me. Like I've lived outside of Passaic longer than I ever lived in Passaic. You know what
Okay.
I mean? So it's just like there's been so many different world experiences that I've you know had the opportunity to experience that shaped how I view the world. And even living there, traveling and seeing different things, and my father he was in New York all the time, being exposed to New York, and then going down to Virginia with my uncle, and so just I got a chance to see a lot of different things.
Hmm. Now, Mickey Blue definitely gave you a very vivid visual cinematic production for this album. And if you don't mind, could we go track by track, describing them?
Let's break it down.
All right, let's go. Let's start with the first one. Balance the scales.
I just that record I just wanted to rap. Like seriously, like that the way that this album actually came about is I was just finishing up the vocals for an album that I have coming with Parks, who's the producer of the Joe Budden podcast. And we were making songs, we were crafting songs, and I remember saying, I just want to rap. Like I just want to rap. That's like, I want to. And when I heard that record, it was like, okay, yeah, I could rap on this. Like, what I mean, I could just rap. And so, you know, that's exactly how it happened. That's exactly how it happened.
All right, you set that tone too, and I like how you laid the Peter Rosenberg intro on there.
Yeah, shout out to Rosenberg. He always shows love, so I figured it only makes sense to like set it off, for Rosenberg.
And then the next track, you kept it nostalgia with Clue Tape.
Who didn't want to be on a Clue tape? You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
that it doesn't exist anymore in that format. So, I figured I'd it's an idea. My man Sugar Hill said, like, it's an idea that's been in my head for years, but I hadn't written the track. Like, I hadn't written the verse that I thought was dope enough for a Clue mixtape. I didn't have the beat. Like, I may have had the verse, but it wasn't on the right beat, or I might have had the beat. But I wrote a different. This one was like, this is it. This is
Right
cool.
on it.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorites featuring Quiz, Projects, and I love the old school drums, funky feel that it comes in with.
Yeah. I mean, what else could that beat be but the Projects, right?
Yep.
And so when I heard it, I was just like, oh man, like this is crazy. I remember like going through the beat pack and I'm listening to beats and I'm like, I gotta come back to this one. And I remember like when the words came to me, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is 100% it. 100% it. And shout out to Quiz, the mayor of the projects, still there.
All right. Respect. And then the next track is Glass Candle.
Yeah. Um, Again, I just listened to the beat and it kind of dictated where I would go. I always try to, allow you to see what I'm seeing. So I try to be as descriptive as possible so you can see what I'm seeing. And so that record was just like, I think I may have written that maybe right before we went to the studio for the first session.
Okay.
Like, so I think I had like an hour, and like, not the idea started coming to me, and then I think I had about an hour before I had to head to the studio. And I was like, let me just, and that's how that happened. And I was so happy when I finished it. I was like, yes, I think this is good. And I'm like, if I execute it right at the studio, I think this could be something. And it was good.
Dope. And the way you described it, the Glass Candle title makes even more sense.
Yeah, they unfortunately they litter, many communities for people that lost somebody, and it's the memoriam, that people get.
And then the next track, Sync, had me thinking of like a Ella Fitzgerald type of vibe.
Okay. That song I almost took that song off actually.
Really?
Yeah. When I first recorded it, I just didn't think that it fit the whole vibe of the album. But then when I started putting songs in order, I was like, oh yeah, this fits. Like I actually love that song actually, and I really like that song. I think it's a really good energy in that record. Like I like that a lot. And the playing on sync, like sync. What is that like in the kitchen, in the bathroom? But no, like like sync. You know what I mean? Like you fall into.
Yep. And then you once again displayed the ill storytelling skills with Noid's theme.
Shout out to my cousin Noid. Like, I, I don't even like this.
It's
You know, like that,
self-explanatory.
yeah, like that's exactly what it was. Like those days of hopping on a dollar bus, going to New York and coming back and seeing the shit that was going on where we were from and coming back with a story to tell and
Mhm.
stumble upon I recently just watched Juice again.
Okay.
And the scene where Omar Epps goes into the bar to buy cigarettes and he just happened to stumble upon a robbery. Like there's so many different things that we just happen to stumble upon. It's like, yo, you know what I mean? So it's just, yeah, that's Noise theme was just like, yeah, as I'm writing it, I'm like, okay, if I can, yeah, this could be something too. And I knew when we tracked it, I was like, yeah, just a few touches and yeah, this is good.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of my favorite songs actually, because it gives sometimes we wait till people pass before we mention them or whatever the case may be. But my cousin Noy, he's been my family, but he's always been somebody that supported me. And when he heard the record and he heard Rosenberg play the record and he heard Drewski play the record, he was like, "Yo, cuz," I'm like, "Yeah, they love you, cuz." Like they love you.
Yep.
And I really did get locked up, like taking him to probation one day, like because my license was suspended. It was just a crazy day, crazy day.
And then next one, number 9.
Number 9, that almost didn't make it. Also, that almost didn't make it. Also, I thought it was, I thought it was kind of like too hip hop. I don't even know. I thought it was, but putting the tracks in order, I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah, this feels good right here, right here. It feels good.
It definitely had more of a laid back vibe than the others.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I learned working. Listening to my favorite albums and then working with really, really talented producers.
Mhm.
The albums should take you here and here and here. Like it shouldn't all be like this. So I was like,
Right.
okay, yeah, let's mix it up a little bit.
And speaking on the layers, like we were just mentioning, the next track, Old New York Love, definitely switches up again.
Yeah, like it's okay to be in love. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to find love. It's okay. Like, you don't gotta be hard 24/7, So it was just a story of how I actually literally met my lady. Like literally, I was on stage and I look out into the crowd and I'm like, what is this? And I go back into song and she's looking at me and that's the actual story. How it happened.
And the last track, More Time, right
Uh,
on point.
yeah, yeah, happy belated birthday to my father's birthday. He would have been on August 13th. Um, yeah, it just I probably wrote that song the fastest because it was just like a conversation I was having with myself, and yeah, I wish I did have more time. I wish I did. We all do. We
Yeah.
all with the people that we've lost, and we wish we had more time. And I say this the only regret that I have is that towards the end we spent a lot of time together, and I was working on the Portrait of album, and I think I let my mom and sister hear Becoming, and so I would take him to his doctor's appointments, and he kept asking me, let me hear some of your new stuff, let me hear some of your new stuff. And I'm like, nah. I'll let you. Let's play. What you want to listen to, George Benson or whatever. Like we'll play jazz, whatever you want to listen to.
Right. Right.
And I just wish I had let him hear Becoming, where I'm talking about, just the things that he instilled in me and, how I view him actually. Um, but that's why I said it even on the record how I ended it. My only regret is like I never got you on a song. Like I got I did a song, I got my mom on it, it hasn't come out yet. I've gotten, Quiz, that's my cousin. She's on a record. But he probably would have dropped something crazy. He probably would have said something crazy. That's about it.
Yeah, and definitely. I mean, for my last three surviving grandparents, I grew up around them, so it was hard for the fact that they all three of them passed in 2013.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, all within like 6 months of each other.
Oh man.
So
Yeah.
certain songs like "More Time" definitely resonate with me.
A lot of people hit me up actually, when the album came out, talking about how it touched them, and you know I don't know how other artists think, but I know for me, like, I'm just writing what I feel.
Hmm.
Like, if it connects with other people, that's a beautiful thing. But like, in that was like a very personal conversation I was having with my dad, and for other people to hear it and it resonate with them, I was like, wow. Like, I remember Lord Finesse told me, he was like, you're either talking to a people or you're talking for people, and if you're doing it right, you're doing it at the same time. So it's just, to have other people, somebody had just lost their dad and reached out to me and was like, yo, I've been crying and I heard this record, and thank you. And I was like, wow, you know thank
Yep,
you for listening.
artists mean a lot. Trust me.
Like, shit, I mean, they mean a lot to me. There's a lot of artists that are, you know in the fabric of my life. Like, there's songs that bring me right back to being a kid. There's songs that make me aspire to want to be more. So song, like, the artist is very important.
Yeah, yep, definitely. So, got to give much respect to Mickey Blue for the chemistry that he created with you for Spear Village, because it is definitely another addition to your album that it resonates differently, but it's still a Rasheed Chappell album.
And I had a lot of. I would hope to think that you could hear I had fun. Like, I had fun doing that project. I just, again, like, I just wanted to rap. Like, that's it. I just wanted to rap. I just, as an artist, I don't, have like verses. When I first started rapping, it was like I had a million verses, because you would be in ciphers all the time. You just want to have a
Hmm.
million verses. But as I became an artist, I was only writing songs. I was writing for the project. It was all for that. So I was like, let me just go in and just rap and see what happens. And I think we came up with some pretty good stuff.
Definitely, definitely. Now I know you have limited time, so we pretty much were concise with what we wanted to
Yeah,
talk
we got
about.
we got a few more minutes. We good. We got a few more minutes. We good.
So, you know, DJ Eclipse finds a lot of talent. So I want to know quickly how it was the earlier times linking up with him and how he became your manager.
How did Eclipse? Yeah, he's very picky about what he likes. He's very very picky, and I think he told me initially he picked up my vinyl because he saw DJ Scratch was on it, and he was more interested to hear what Scratch was doing than who this guy rapping was. He's friends with Kenny Dope, but
Hmm.
he was like, okay, Kenny Dope, like, let's see what this is.
Right, right.
That's how he became. That's how he was introduced to me. And then I think at a Fat Beats party, no, the Stretch and Bobito party is where I actually met him for the first time. And this is, we briefly spoke, and then he invited me up to halftime radio, and then from there we kind of hit it off. Or actually, I didn't know. I didn't know what his feelings were on me. I just thought maybe he kind of liked the music. And then I remember maybe a few months after the album dropped, he called me, and I was like, "Oh, what's up?" And he was like, "Yo," like, he was like, "What do you want to do?" Like, what do you want to do? And I remember telling him, he was like, what kind of career do you want to have?
Hmm.
And I asked him, I said to him, I said, I wouldn't mind being like, in evidence, who travels and puts out music when he wants to, and he's revered by the fans, and he's making a very good living off of music. And I remember he said to me, he was like, "That's cool, but why not be Nas?" And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, okay." And that was a comment. And he said to me, he said, "Just because I think you're the dopest, out of the comment, but just because I think you're good, that doesn't mean you're going to go the furthest."
Mhm.
He was just kind of like, like this is a lot more than just talent,
Right,
you know.
right.
And so he helps me navigate through certain things, and I definitely used him as a sounding board many, many times. And when I need E, I call him and he picks up. And my guy.
Yeah. I mean, I've listened to some of his interviews, and he doesn't do too many interviews, but when he does do interviews, it always makes me think he needs his own either biography or documentary,
Yeah.
because his experience and where he's been at and where he's going to, it's a lot, and it's to be well respected in the culture and respected as him as an individual as well.
Yeah, he, his name attached to certain things definitely gets things open for me. Like he's definitely garners a lot of respect, and just the time that he's put in is like undeniable. It's very few that have been doing it for as long as he's been doing it and been as consistent.
Yep, absolutely. Much respect, and I'm glad I got to go to the anniversary that they had, Fappy's anniversary.
Yeah, I missed that. I don't know if I was here. Yeah, but I heard it was dope.
Yeah, definitely great. And Lord Finesse definitely ended it on a high note, even though they tried to cut him short because they was after the time. But he definitely did his thing.
It
They
wouldn't be
let him
hip hop if
extend
they
it.
was running. It wouldn't be hip hop if they didn't run over the time.
Yep, good times, good times. Before we go, tell us more about Project City Music Group and also Perfect Time Music Group.
Perfect Time Music Group is actually, the label that distributes a lot of the music that you've been hearing for the past couple of years. Shout out to my man Adam Brosoff. Um, we met down in Atlanta at A3C when I was like maybe 6 or 7 songs into Sugar Bills, and he was just like, "Yo, like this music is like really, really dope, and I would love to work with you." And I was like, "I bet, no, like, no problem." And so before Sugar Bills came out, Sinners and Saints that
Mm-hmm.
I did with Buck Wild came out, and we were looking around to see where we were going to distribute the music, and spoke to a few people. I was like, let me reach out to Adam. Reached out to Adam. We had a conversation, and we went someplace else. We went to Get On Down, release the music, and then maybe a few months after that, we sparked up a conversation again, and he kind of told me what his vision was, and no hard feelings, like it's business. I understand, if you got a better offer over there, whatever the case may be. And then we just kind of worked, and I think the first project we did was 15 Minutes in Queens, produced by Rec Will, and yeah, we've just been working since there. We've just been constantly building the catalog, building
That's great.
the profile, building the awareness. That it's a goal. Like it's been a goal, and Project City Music Group is just the entity that I use to distribute my music.
Yep.
My venture.
All artists take heed to that.
You got to own something.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely.
Hold on to your likeness, name and likeness. Hold on to
Yeah.
that.
Rasheed Chappell. You know, I definitely love to hear in-depth breakdowns like that every once in a while with projects. So I appreciate you telling us about it. And also, this man is about to bless the stage at High Road Day.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes, that is, man. That's it's been a long time coming though. I met Evidence, I met Souls of Mischief, the Hieroglyphics at halftime radio show. I think it was after, I forgot what they were here for. I don't know if it was the Rocksteady reunion or something they were here for.
Mhm.
But we all did like the cipher at the end of the show, and me and Tajay hit it off, and we exchanged numbers and we kept in contact. And then Breakbeat Lou is working on an album. I don't even know if I should be saying this with Opio, and he had hit me
Okay.
up. He had hit me up and was like, "Yo, can I get a verse?" Did the verse. Um, then we were down in Atlanta, and Opio and I were performing at the same venue. And he called me up on stage. I'm like, "Yo, I don't remember that verse. Like, I don't know I don't know where that verse is at." And so he was like, "Nah, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna put on a beat and we just rock something." And we rocked it, and we exchanged numbers. We've been in contact, and then I think I reached out to Tajay. Oh, I think I reached out to him to tell him how dope I think they did on the Red Bull freestyle or the Red Bull
Oh yeah, yeah,
Spiral.
Spiral. Yeah, yep.
And he was like, "Yo, like, thank you, I appreciate it." He was like this album is crazy though. Like this Spirit Village album, the Spirit Village album is crazy. I'm like, thank you. They posted it a couple times, and I was like, look, Hyro Day, and he was like, give me a minute, and shit, maybe like a week later, if that, he was like, yo, like this is the date. Are you available? I'm like,
That's
yes, I'm
amazing.
available. Yes, I'm available. So yeah, Hyro Day, a few weeks. Yeah, a few weeks.
Yep.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
September 1st. Yep.
Yeah, cannot
That's
wait.
amazing.
Cannot wait.
And we're gonna leave it on this blessed high note. So again, Rasheed Chappell, thank you again for letting me have a conversation with you on HHDG Media. And for all those tuning in, Spear Village is out now. I'm gonna put up the link tree once again, and it dropped on June 13th
Yes,
of
it's
this
like
year.
that. Yep. Appreciate you for having me. Salute to everybody that taps in. Salute to everybody, that's a fan of the culture. Everybody that's contributing to the art. I appreciate you. And, people such as yourself that take the time out to actually, go into depth with an artist catalog instead of asking the same questions. Where did you start? Who's your favorite five? You know what I mean? Like, that's appreciated. That's appreciated.
Appreciate that. Appreciate
No
that.
doubt.
Thank you. And on behalf of our HHDG Media crew, we're gonna say peace.
Peace.